calls for normalcy and unity are already being undercut by partisan bickering in Congress. Already, joining me now, two men who know a thing or two about working across the aisle and seeking unity. They are the co-chairs of the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus. Congressman Tom Reed, Republican from New York, Congressman Josh Gottheimer, Democrat from New Jersey. Gentlemen, a big welcome to you once again. Thanks for coming back. And Congressman Gottheimer, I'll start with you because Democrats now have both houses of Congress. They have the White House. But if there's one thing that we learned in the last two administrations, it's that controlling all the levers doesn't necessarily make it easy to pass laws. What path do you see, Congressman Gottheimer, to get stuff done?
Well, I think we have to follow the words of our new president yesterday, who said that unity is the path forward. I think he called for all of us to help repair the breach and to get to work. And the only way we're going to beat COVID and turn our economy around is if we work together. So Tom Reed, who's on here with me, who's the co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus, what we're focused on, the 56 of us in the caucus, half Democrat, half Republican, working with our Senate colleagues, is to get things done, and starting with COVID, which I know is going to be front and center right away.
Congressman Reed, President Biden spent much of his inaugural address talking about unity, bipartisanship. Specific areas, Congressman Reed, specific areas where you could see members of your party working with Democrats, crossing the aisle.
Yeah, well, I absolutely agree with Josh and with the president's message yesterday. Now it's an opportunity to heal this country and bring us together. So specifically, as we deal with COVID-19, we in the Problem Solvers Caucus helped lead that $908 billion package that got signed into law for COVID relief. And so with COVID, I think on vaccine distribution and resources to make sure the vaccine is getting out as fast as possible so we get herd immunity up sooner rather than later, that is something we can agree upon. Maybe an opportunity for additional assistance to individuals with direct assistance in regards to check. The debate that we were part of before in regards to that. Maybe we can find a targeted relief package there that goes with it. But I will just tell you, there are many of us that are interested in finding that common ground. And as the president signed these executive orders, he said something that I've told my colleagues many times. What you can do by executive orders, you can undo by executive orders. And when President Biden said we need legislative action to get this taken care of long term, that is where I think we in the Problem Solvers Caucus are going to be critical to the success of America, because you need 60 votes in the Senate and 218 in the House, and we're willing to roll up our sleeves to find common ground.
Congressman Gottheimer, one item that wasn't on the list there from Congressman Reed, immigration. Immigration reform has been the political white whale for decades. Democratic and Republican presidents have both tried to get it done. They've both failed. I think it's come up at least 3 times over the past 13, 14 years. President Biden wasting no time announcing a pause on deportation, laying out his goals for sweeping legislation. Simple question, Congressman Gottheimer. Will Congress pass a sweeping immigration bill this time?
Well, I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's something that our caucus has worked on for multiple years to get legislation passed. And obviously, I was personally pleased with the action taken yesterday. I think this is something that Tom and I have talked about with the group of getting back to work on. So I'm really pleased that that's on the agenda. And, I'm optimistic. As you pointed out, it's gotten very close in recent years with Democrats and Republicans working together. And as you know, we work closely with a group in the Senate, the Democrats and Republicans, about 16 of them, half Democrat, half Republican. And I think if we sit down at the table and work together, this is something we can get done. But it's going to take us all working together, just like infrastructure, just like COVID. I think the broader moral of the story is, given how narrow the majority is in the Senate and the House, we're going to all have to sit down at the beginning of a process and work with the best way forward together. And I think that's what the country wants us to do.
Congressman Reed, we may be hearing lots of calls for unity, but you recently told my colleague Chuck Todd, quote, "We have to be realistic. It's not going to be kumbaya. It is going to be a fight." What do you think the biggest fight will be? And how can you overcome it with bipartisanship?
I think first we have to get through the anger. We have to understand the 74 million folks that voted for President Trump and where they're at. and the lack of trust that they have in the institutions of Congress and of the country. And that's why I appreciated President Biden reaching out to those 74 million folks. That's where there's another common ground issue on election integrity, maybe an H.R. 1 that you just had a piece on that the speaker was talking about, that maybe we focus on the issue of election integrity so we bring faith back into our conversation. And you have a conversation where you listen to the other side and you listen to those people that you disagree with. And that's what we do in the Problem Solvers Caucus each and every day. We stay in the room. We often yell at each other in the beginning, but by the end of the conversation, after an hour or two, we're listening to each other and we're saying, you know what, this is where we can agree. And if you do it with respect, as our parents taught us, that's when you can solve problems for the American people.
I totally agree. I would just say, I just want to add one thing in there. Tom is spot on. You know, America is really resilient. And I think that was a core message that we also heard from the president yesterday of how we have to, in order to beat the virus and turn the economy around, we're going to have to show that we can heal our democracy even after a failed insurrection and get back together and get back to work. But it's going to take us working together, to Tom's point. And so look for us to do that. And again, it's not going to be easy, but we can get there.
Well, we are all looking to you to do just that. Congressman Gottheimer, Congressman Reed, a big thanks to both of you. And
hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.